The stock market. You hear that phrase all the time, right? And it can feel like this super complicated, far-off world that's only for the experts. But what if I told you it's actually one of the most powerful and accessible tools you have for building your financial future? Seriously. So let's break it all down, step by step.
So, be honest, when you hear stock market, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it a bunch of traders in expensive suits shouting on a chaotic floor? Yeah, that's the classic image, but it makes the rest of us feel like we're on the outside looking in, like it's a club we can't join.
But here's the thing. That's not the reality anymore. Not even close. The stock market isn't some exclusive club. It's a powerful tool that's available to anyone who wants to grow their wealth over time. So let's pull back the curtain and see how this thing really works.
Okay, first things first. Why should you even care about any of this? The answer is actually pretty simple. You want to get to a point where your money is working for you instead of you just working for your money.
Just take a look at the difference here. If you put $1,000 in a savings account, sure, it grows, but pretty slowly. Now look what can happen when that same $1,000 is invested in the stock market over the long run. The potential for growth is just on another level. This is all thanks to something called compound growth. It's where your earnings start making their own earnings. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill, getting bigger and bigger all on its own. And that right there is the magic ingredient that makes investing so incredibly powerful.
So, we've covered the why. Now let's get into the what. What in the world is a stock, anyway? It sounds all official and complicated, but the actual idea behind it is something you can totally wrap your head around. All right, here's the textbook definition. A stock is a security that represents a share of ownership in a corporation. Okay, super dry, right? What does that actually mean in plain English? Let's use an analogy that makes it way easier to understand. Think about it like this. When you buy a stock, you're buying one single brick in a giant skyscraper. Now, you don't own the whole building, of course, but you absolutely 100% own your little piece of it. You're an actual part owner of a real business. So if you buy a share of, say, Apple, you own a teeny tiny slice of everything they do. The iPhones, the App Store, all of it. And here's the crucial part. As that company gets more successful and more valuable, the value of your little slice, your share, can grow right along with it. Your success is literally tied to the company's success. Okay, so you get it. A stock means you own a piece of a company. But where does this all happen? Where do you go to buy and sell these pieces? Let's talk about the marketplace itself. You know, the easiest way to picture the stock market, places like the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ, is to imagine a huge, bustling farmer's market. Seriously. But instead of people walking around buying and selling apples and carrots, they're buying and selling these tiny ownership pieces of companies. It's just a giant marketplace connecting buyers and sellers.
And making a trade is actually way more straightforward than you might think. First, you decide what company's stock you want to buy. Then you use a broker, which today is usually just an app or a website, to place your order. That broker goes out into the big marketplace, finds someone who's selling, the exchange happens digitally, usually in less than a second, and that's it. Boom, you're now a shareholder.
This all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually, do it? How do you take that very first practical step? Let's break down exactly what you need to get started. Okay, the one thing you absolutely need is a gateway, an entry point to that big marketplace we talked about. And that gateway is called a brokerage account. It's just a special type of account that you can open online, often in minutes, that lets you buy and sell investments. Now, you've probably heard of retirement accounts, like a 401k or an IRA. Think of those as special investment accounts that come with awesome tax benefits, all designed to help you save for that one big goal, retirement. A regular brokerage account is a bit more flexible. It's the tool you use for investing towards goals you might have before retirement, like saving for a down payment on a house. Both are super powerful. They're just built for slightly different jobs. Once you've got your account open, there are really two main paths you can take. You can buy individual stocks in specific companies that you've researched and really believe in, or, and this is a great way to start, you can buy into a fund. Just think of a fund as a pre-made shopping basket that already holds tiny pieces of hundreds or even thousands of different companies all at once. It's an amazing way to instantly spread out your risk, so you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. And now we come to what is, honestly, the most important part of this whole thing. The tools are easy to get, but having the right mindset, that is everything. It's what separates successful investors from people who are just gambling. I absolutely love this quote from Warren Buffett. It just hits the nail on the head. The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Success in this game isn't about being the smartest person in the room. A lot of the time, it's just about being the most patient. And that brings us to this really important difference. Investing is about playing the long game. It's about buying into solid businesses and holding on for years, letting them do their thing. Speculating, on the other hand, is all about short-term betting on which way the price will wiggle tomorrow. We're here to talk about investing. Remember, it's about time in the market, not trying to time the market.
So you might be sitting there thinking, okay, but I don't have a ton of money to start with. What's my advantage? Well, here's the best part. Your number one advantage as a new investor isn't some secret stock tip. It's time. Time is the fuel for that compounding engine we talked about. The more of it you have, the more powerful your investments can become. It is your superpower.
You see, learning these basics isn't just about spreadsheets and numbers. It's about empowerment. It's about changing your money from something you just spend into a tool that actively works for you, building your future. The journey doesn't start with $1,000, it starts with the very first dollar you invest. So the real question is, what future are you going to start building today?